This week, I've got a good one for you. This is probably one of my, I don't know if I could say favorite topics, but it is one that is very dear to my heart, and it's called parent pleasing. So, are you a parent pleaser? That is my question. And yes, I am a parent pleaser, or was. I'm getting better, but I still have traces of being a parent pleaser. Now, let's talk about, I know you've heard about it as people pleasing. So, people pleasing is a coping mechanism. Now, it is a strategy for purchasing love and feeling accepted. And so it's where we learn to put ourselves on the back burner in our own lives and to prioritize others. And if you had to do this as a child, if you're past, if that was you were involved in experiences of being around your caregivers who they either demanded or they elevated a degree of submission to their moods and their commands. If that happened for you, such as I grew up in an alcoholic home, and there was a lot of demand and a degree of submission that I was demanded of me to take care of my mother. So this kind of trained me to know that if I was going to get my needs met, I had to put my needs on the back burner and make sure that the others' needs were more elevated than mine. Woo! Let's think about it. Do you have that one going on? So if you are a people pleaser, you most likely are a parent pleaser. And so you may be conditioned to always try to be positive, to always try to be accepted by your children, to always have them love you. And this is going to make it really hard to set those personal healthy boundaries, which we talked about a few weeks ago. Because if we always are trying to purchase love by being kind, loving, making sure that our children love us, they never get mad at us, they always feel like we're there, it's going to get hard, right? Because you're not going to be able to actually be authentic, to be real. And the biggest thing is that you're going to make their needs more important than your needs, right? And so can you see how this starts to build up that resentment? Because you keep doing all these things for them because you want them to be happy and you don't want them to ever feel rejected like you felt. And so then you start to build up this resentment. Because as I say, little ones just receive. That's what they do. And then we call them demanding and entitled. No, they're just receiving our strategy of trying to purchase that love. And when we get tired of that and we want something back, and then they're not so giving to us, they may play out the role like our parents did and, say, well, what are you talking about? I'm not going to give you anything. I mean, you haven't given me anything. And all these things get crazy. Then we start to blame them. Then we start to get resentful and say, I do so much for you, and you won't just even take out the trash, and I do this, and I do that. See where this is leading? And also as a parent pleaser, you may have a fear of conflict, right? Because if you grew up in an environment where you were always feeling stressed by the conflict, like I did, peacekeeping became the way. And so that meant saying yes to things that I didn't really want to say yes to. And that meant not actually expressing my true opinions or beliefs about things because I just wanted to fit in. And that led to thinking that if I was a good parent and I was a loving parent, I would never get angry. I would never have needs. I would always be there for my child. So I forgot about myself because I had this big fear of conflict and then this deeper fear of being disliked. I didn't think I could tolerate. Even today, it's really hard for me with friends when they don't like something I do to be able to tolerate someone being uncomfortable with me, someone not liking me taking care of myself. So you can see how that came into my parenting and still can. It can feel very uncomfortable when my daughter may not like when I tell her that I'm not going to give her something that she wants. I have to really be willing to tolerate the intensity of the other, which makes it hard when you're a people pleaser, parent pleaser, other pleaser, right? And then one of the other ones, the big ones, is fear of losing control. So, we think it's our responsibility to make others feel good. As a mama, that's what I did. And what we're doing is we're giving this false sense of security to our children that, we can always protect them and make them feel good. And we do this by kind of minimizing their emotions, trying to keep them in check by not doing anything to rock the boat, right? And then we may say no to their request right away because we don't want to tolerate having to work through things. A lot of things can happen in here. We can reward them for being loving and nice and compliant. We can really not, maybe we're not able to tolerate hearing that they're uncomfortable or that they're not happy, right? And we can kind of, trigger a lot of emotions and then try to make them feel bad for disagreeing with us. It's a hard one. So you're probably asking, what is the remedy to this one? The first remedy is to offer yourself kindness, to know that all of those strategies of people pleasing as a child probably got you through a difficult situation and got you to now. But there is a way to turn this around. Right. And what that looks like is starting to trust your children more and more, to encourage their independence and individuality, and to support them in having their no, right? I always like to say I was raising a girl to say no, just not to me. But when we can start to trust that our children are communicating to us, they're not out to get us, they're not withdrawing love, they are really trying to tell us their internal experience, then we can start listening more. Then we can start supporting them in expressing that no by listening and not seeing it as a sign of they do not love us. And the biggest one is to accept ourselves for who we are, and also to accept our children for who they are, not for who we want them to be, so that we're comfortable. Thank you for listening to this episode of Parenting Paused. If you enjoyed the episode, do me a favor and share it with your mama friends. You can also leave a review wherever you listen, which will support getting the Pure Joy message out. Come on over to the Pure Joy Parenting Practice Facebook page or join me on Instagram to hear more. And don't forget to download your free copy of the Safe Seat course on the Pure Joy website. And while there, check out the offerings page to go deeper in the Pure Joy work.